The Currie Cup continues into round 13 in Bloemfontein here with the Toyota Cheetahs up against the Airling Pumas in a very, very important game for both of these teams. And for different reasons too, which we'll discuss during the course of the commentary, I'm pretty sure. It's a pretty cold evening here in Bloemfontein. As you can see, the people all dressed up in their warm clothing. The minimum temperature going down to 7 degrees. So, a little bit earlier, we had the spin of the coin, and they've chosen a really big coin as well to make sure that everybody can see what's heads and what's tails. So, Willie Engelbrecht there and Ruan Pienaar. It's a special night as well for Ruan Pienaar, which you'll hear about a little bit later. But, well, this weekend started then with Griquas beating Western Province by those 2 points, and they came back from absolutely nowhere apparently. And they were down in the first half, so certainly those of you that watched that's a very interesting result, and that's why the Currie Cup standings as they are at the moment shows that Griquas are 7 points ahead of the Sharks, and well, that's the 4th position, the Sharks there. Importantly, the Pumas obviously have to make sure of getting a victory tonight. There's Jochie Janssen, former Springbok centre, 3-quarter, and the tackling machine they used to call him. And in the meanwhile, we've had little young girls doing their little dancing, but wonderful to see. All dressed up with all the talent in the world. So the Pumas, they come here with just one change. Jade Stichling comes in at number 11 on the left wing for the Pumas, and there's a few shuffles in the back line with Tapiwa Mafura moving to the right wing too, and Seb de Klerk coming in from the right wing into the centre 3-quarter position. So, well, I think Jimmy Stonehouse will be happy with the fact that he hasn't had to make many changes, because his squad has also been depleted on occasions. The Cheetahs, in the meanwhile, have made 7 changes to their team, with 3 amongst the backs and 4 amongst the forwards. So after that loss last week, where they were stunningly beaten by Griquas by 48 points to 18, they've had a little shake-up. But I must say that if one looks at this team as well, this looks like perhaps the strongest combination that they can set out on the field. So first up, Willie Engelbrecht, who will be plying his trade elsewhere next season, leads out the Pumas. He really has led from the front in some fantastic rugby that he's played. And in fact, this team has quite often punched above their weight. Devin Williams going out there now. But of course, there's nothing better than having a captain that leads from the front, and this man certainly has done that. So they'll be playing in their familiar pink jerseys from right to left as you look at the screen. And it'll be first Ruan Pienaar playing his 50th match for the Cheetahs. And you might say, wow, is that all? Bearing in mind that you go back many, many years to when he first played, and he comes out with his children, and just such a wonderful occasion for a man who's 38 years of age, in great shape, one's got to say too, and a true servant not only of Cheetahs but also of rugby in general. He plied his trade in various provinces, of course, and including Ulster in Ireland, where my fellow commentator Warren Brosnian played some his rugby as well, former Springbok loose forward. Wonderful occasion this, isn't it, with Ruan Pienaar?
Oh, it's absolutely magnificent. He's an absolute legend of the game. His father, Casey Pienaar, of course, a decorated Springbok and Cheetah as well, and it's a proud moment for Ruan Pienaar. He started his rugby here. He made his debut, I think, as a 19-year-old, and he's finishing his career here with the Toyota Cheetahs, and he has been a valuable acquisition. His experience in that number 9 jersey has been very important to the success of the Toyota Cheetahs in this Carling Currie Cup.
One of the sad things is that his partner in crime, if we might call Frans Steyn that, has unfortunately got an injury, so he's out for a couple of weeks now. AJ Jacobs, the 36-year-old teacher from Kimberley, will be in charge of this match today, with Dylan November, Clarence Kumalo, and Quinton Immelman is our TMO. There have been some late changes to the Cheetahs team, and Reinhard Fortuin at fly half has had to cry off with a hamstring injury. So it's a big night as well for George Lawrence, who some of you will remember from the Varsity Cup. He had an exceptionally good Varsity Cup for the Shimlers. So he gets a chance tonight. And Scott Ferreira at Loosehead too, I understand, is also playing his 50th first class match. Not for the Cheetahs, of course. He's played a round for Western Province and the Kings. And immediately Willie Engelbrecht into the swing of things.
Yeah, he's everything that is good that happens in this Pumas pack revolves around their captain, Willie Engelbrecht, and he leads from the front. Great run there from kickoff. Of course, he's signed and moving down to the Cape. They're joining the Stormers. But first wants to finish off with the Airling Pumas.
Titus De Beer with the kick downfield. Of course, they've got that left boot of Devin Williams at fullback too, when needed to kick downfield. Sometimes it's easier. The angles are better for the left-footed kicker on that far side of the field. The left side as you watch the screen. But De Beer's found a solid touch. No, Shane Kirkwood very often the man in picture. Well, he's unable to grab it. 2 knock-ons. So
first from White.
The first one coming from the Cheetahs.
Yeah, it's from the Cheetahs. Renier Bernardo did well to get his hand up, just knocked it on, unfortunately. Good competing at line out. You don't just want to give that number 2 ball to your opposition. There's the knock on there from Ron Pina.
Let's go. Let's go.
So the all-important first scrum will belong to the Airling Pumas. And, well, if we have a look at the pack weights, you'll see that there's a pretty heavy pack there. There's Ek Prinsloo on the far side of the front row.
A lot of the weight is based there.
Coach!
And no doubt, I think Jimmy Stonehouse has chosen his team on the basis of really trying to soften up the Cheetahs up front too, with this pack of forwards. September. Mapura coming in from the right wing. Held up initially by Gideon van der Merwe.
Release!
Sekekedi told to let go of that ball. So the ball coming the way of the Pumas at the moment. Carry up from Edwin Swart. Both teams not really committing a lot of players to the breakdown point. Here's the fly half, Titus De Beer. Good quick delivery there too on that occasion as Daniel Martins takes it in. He, of course, will be plying his trade with the Cheetahs next season. Hails from Nelspruit. So the Cheetahs making those important tackles, and they look pretty well organised defensively as things stand at the moment. Now the long pass over the top, but it's gone forward, I think. Jade Stickling would have had a relatively easy run in then.
Yeah, the option was good. The defence there from the Toyota Cheetahs, they were making good contact, good body checks, and fetching the attack behind that advantage line. The Pumas actually went backwards with that ball. So defensively much better. There was a problem for them last week. Coming out, meeting the defence in the defensive line. Much better here from the Cheetahs.
Boot.
On their toes, bouncing, coming forward. And again, catching them behind the advantage line. They did it 3-4 times in a row. And eventually they're going to go for the big, long, looping pass because of that defence, but it's a forward pass, so it'll come back and be scrum feed to the Toyota Cheetahs. And that's purely defence exerting its will on the attack.
Yeah, pretty well organised there were the Cheetahs. Scott Ferreira there in picture. Also a great servant of rugby in South Africa. And hasn't it been good news this week about the Cheetahs playing in the Challenge Cup in Europe next year?
Oh, it's absolutely magnificent, and great news for this franchise that they're going to be involved in that European Championship along with the Lions that will also be playing in the Challenge Cup.
Can you get your head in on bind, please? Coach!
So what will be the options here for Ruan Pienaar?
Bind!
They're always looking to try and bring Cohen Jasper in from the fullback position too. But this time, well, it's a tough ball there for Lawrence, but he gets it away rather quickly. Here's Chris Smith playing alongside Robert Eberson tonight. So getting onto the front foot there where the Cheetahs as Sekakete takes it in.
Off your feet.
Penalty against Eddie Fisher.
Shadoway see change and different style from the two other Cheetahs, trying to get a bit more width from the ruck.
That's a fantastic kick that from Ruan Pienaar. It's everything that the Cheetahs would have wanted. Into the 22-meter area they go.
Eddie Fisher, he's the man that was penalised for going off his feet.
Middle.
Makes a tackle and say he's not supporting his own body weight. He was just lying, hugging the player.
So Lee van der Westhuizen, the Namibian international, with a throw-in. Full line out, Sekakete in the middle, calling the tune. In front of him, Ronnie Bernardo.
Here's your mark. Here's your mark.
So to the pack they go. It's a perfect throw-in. Here's Pienaar. Back inside he goes, and one of the things you can do on the rugby field with Roscoe Speckman when he's in play is flick the ball, he'll be there. Somehow he just gets himself into a good position. That ball just going a little too far there for the Pumas. Rather brave decision too, inside their 22.
There's a pre-planned move that they try to do around the back here. They try to drag the defence out, Ruan Pienaar. No look pass, passing to where he thinks the player is going to be. Unfortunately, Daniel Kasende wasn't there yet.
Yeah, both Kasende and Speckman are both really good players when it comes to reading the game, using the pace that they've got. This time it's a clean catch from Bernardo. Smith, little pop passes back. Well, it hasn't worked out. This is sometimes where things can go wrong, and they certainly have for the Cheetahs as Devin Williams gets over under the bar.
Again, it's the defence exerting the pressure on the attack. The defence that's manipulating the attack, forcing the 50-50 pass, the loose pass. And then pouncing on it was Devin Williams. Ball comes out. They've got a planned move. Chris Smith to Roscoe Speckman. Roscoe Speckman just drops it onto the ground, and it's pounced upon by Devin Williams, and he's got a clean pair of heels from there and races in for the first try.
So no problem then with the extra 2 points from Eddie Fisher.
Now, accuracy on passing game, a big problem. Can't just drop the ball down there. It's going to get pounced upon. This man's got good pace, and you're never going to catch him from there. There would be some question marks in this Cheetahs team. They hadn't lost until last week when they played against the Griquas. They would have wanted to start well against this Pumas team.
Now, the mental aspect of this game can sometimes play havoc with your mind. The Cheetahs have had such a good season, but they're not finishing it off the way they would have wanted to. Maybe they can change that tonight. It's another good kick that from Tinus de Beer. Now, he hasn't got the meters I thought he would have got.
So the Cheetahs would be happy with that result. They get line-out feed halfway between the 22 and the halfway line.
They've got Aiden Davis who's moved back to the flank position after filling in as a lock forward and doing a really good job as well for the Cheetahs during the course of the season. So that allows Vinny Bernardo to come in. Sekiketi that time with a catch.
Man, that's off.
So no real forward movement there. Now the little kick through. Back foot Mapura. This is good play this from the Pumas. They've done really well here. They can open things up if they can just create a little bit of space. And the knock-on coming from first touch of the game, Cohen Jasper.
It's very crisp from the Ealing Pumas. Get the ball deep in their own half, quite prepared to move that ball around, Gavin, to the fringes. And then Sebastian de Klerk, he had a great game last week against the Vodacom Bulls.
My hands are
Casper
down.
Johan.
You went over the line.
Cohen Jasper just looks up at the last minute and concedes the knock-on.
He's a danger man as far as the Pumas are concerned. As he finds an entry into the line. I just wonder if maybe the Cheetahs want to just try and maybe settle things for those first 10 minutes, but it looks like they're quite happy to just keep moving it around. Makundana on the flank side for the Pumas.
Fine.
On this near side, Crystal September with a put in.
Set.
Scrum's looking very solid. The Pumas, one's got to say, De Beer. Now the long pass. Can they find a little bit of extra space there? The thing with Sid de Klerk too is that he's got really very, very good pace. If he can use that effectively.
Now you played fly half, Gav. There's an example of a fly half not having a left boot, sticking with the right boot and getting charged down. Cheetahs De Beer.
High tackle.
One does get the impression that they do want to try and speed this game up, the Ealing Pumas. And that, of course, can present a lot of danger to the Cheetahs too. It's all about the accuracy of the execution. Now, again, Tennis De Beer. Searching for around about that 22-meter line. He's done just that.
Good kick, Tennis De Beer. They've got over 70% of the possession at the moment. Have the Ealing Pumas. Sebastian de Klerk played wing last week, scored 3 tries there, just tackled above the line of the shoulder. That's the penalty. And that's where he needed the left foot.
That ball not in straight there to the front of the Pumas line out. So it'll be a Cheetahs put in at the scrum.
Eddie swiped the hooker, not feeding straight. He's a versatile player, can play in the front row, can play in as a prop as well. Playing in the hooking position tonight.
His background is actually as a prop forward, but as we know, quite often you get prop forwards moved into the hooker position.
Most famous of him, John Smith.
There we go.
So this being a pretty important put in the scrum here for Ruan Pienaar. The Cheetahs have seen how sturdily this Ealing Pumas scrum has stood in the 3 scrums that we've had to date.
Set.
Well, sturdy enough as well for the Cheetahs. Now Smith's kicked downfield. It's a big chase that for Devon Williams, but a very good kick that from the centre 3/4. I quite like that idea as well of playing territory now. That really does put a lot of pressure on the Pumas, who's spending quite a lot of time in their own half of the field.
Yeah, it's important for them to apply a bit of territory pressure. It was good there from the scrum, using the right foot of Chris Smith. Of course, Chris Smith coming in for the injured Frans Steyn. France hurt his hamstring in the game against the Griquas last week.
Former referee sending the message there, Shane Kirkwood the caller in the line out. This time taken by Dean Slubbert.
Stop.
Now it's a massive kick downfield from De Beer. Kasende. There's Cone Jasper. He's got a little bit of room to move there.
Stay.
Another chance for De Beer. A little bit of aerial ping pong again, will we see?
Stay, all of you, move back.
Pinar back for it. Now here comes Roscoe Speckman. Always something happening when this man's around. Done well to get the offload to Robert Eberson. And some good work as well from Chris Smith. This is much better, this from the Cheetahs. Bernardo did the right thing, held on to it. Van der Westhuizen. Then you can see the Cheetahs really quite keen to move the ball out wide as early as they can.
First man in.
Well, there's a counter-ruck opportunity there, but it's ultimately won by the Cheetahs.
Good turnover. White on it.
Our ball's been played on the ground by the Pumas. Half halves all around for the Toyota Cheetahs. We're using Roscoe Speckman almost as a playmaker there with a couple of offloads.
It's a very wise thing to do that, Warren. He's got that ability. He's got great peripheral vision. He's able to move around. He set that whole thing up.
Well, he ran off Roscoe Speckman, did Chris Smith, set a good target. And holding the ball on the ground in the end there by Billy Engelbrecht. That's Roscoe Speckman, such an exciting player.
I don't think he was holding the ball on the ground. I think it was just stuck between his thighs.
Sitting on it.
Sitting on it. Bernardo again unchallenged in the front. Great stroke. Maul this from the Cheetahs. Louis van der Westhuizen's got that ball in hand at the moment. Pinar joins in, adds the touch, and I think Louis van der Westhuizen will be credited with this try. Welcome back, Cheetahs.
Yeah, we've seen the width, we've seen the running that they can do. And sometimes it's just best to go to basics and do what works for you and get that drive moving forward. Cleanly taken that line out time. They were stuck together like super glue as they worked their way towards that try line. Taken up front, 2-ball by Bernardo. There was a rip from Gideon van der Merwe. The transfer then to the hooker, Louis van der Westhuizen. And they move it forward. They're patient, they talk, they communicate, and they get the try.
We've got that.
19 test matches for Namibia. Louis van der Westhuizen. And alongside him in the front row as well, Aronos Kutsia, also having played 21 tests for Namibia. Here's a man who's played 88 tests for South Africa, Ruan Pinar, holding the kicking duties. Well, it wasn't an easy kick that, but he certainly has thumped it through those uprights.
Cool as ice is Ruan Pinar. And strong up front. The Toyota Cheetahs on drive, staying connected. Pinar's in there as well, helping his hooker over the try line.
So again, one can see the wisdom as well of playing territory, which essentially what the Cheetahs did in the lead up to that. A good line out and then ultimately able to get a 7-pointer.
You want to be able to determine where the game's been played and use your kicking ability.
Edwin Swart with the ball in hand. And just waiting for the committee meeting of the forwards to be completed. Are there options towards the back of this line-out as well? Dean Slobbert in the front, and then Kirkwood. And Kongwana, unfortunately, unable to hold on to it. Just look a little bit shaky, the Pumas line-out, one's got to say. Now, back foot Mafuda. Calls the mark.
On me. Cheetahs. Stay.
So just the little tap kick to the man who could probably kick it a little bit further than him, but it's a quick throw in. Now chance here for Jasper.
Move out, white.
The chase coming from Sekekete.
Give him the number, it's at 5. Yep, 5
And he's the
in
man
front of the
penalised.
kicker.
Yeah, he was just in front of Cohen Jasper was Victor
5.
Sekekete. The big lock forward having a great season as well
Penalty.
for the Toyota Cheetahs. Was well taken out of the air there by Cheetahs de Beer.
He the man in picture at the moment. In fact, he had a little look back and to say, must I kick a goal? Which it certainly is kickable for him. And he's been told, no, go for the touchline. So there will be a pursuit of tries perhaps tonight from these two teams.
Cheetahs on the line.
Ultimately, victory really important, and for the Cheetahs in particular, one's got to say.
Yeah, Victor Sekekete, you could see him there. He was always in front of Jasper, never retreated,
Good boys.
and quite legitimate penalty
No
from
problem. I had it.
referee AJ
Good work.
Jacobs.
This time it's a little bit better line out there from the Pumas as Daniel Martins takes it up. Well, Billy Engelbrecht, has he managed to hold on to it? No, he hasn't. It's been turned over. Here comes Speckman. Such a busy player.
Back.
It wasn't a clever move from him though, as he flicked that back. And I think the Cheetahs have been saved.
It's one thing when you are playing against a side like the
The
Pumas.
goal line dropout is kicked in. It's kicked in by Pumas. No, it's kicked in by them.
It's a goal line dropout because being kicked in and dotted down by the Cheetahs. But you cannot afford the game to get loose. You can't throw loose passes. You can't allow the game to get loose for the ball to be on the ground. And that's what the Cheetahs are tending to do at the moment against this Pumas side. You can't use that strategy.
Let's go, Ron.
Got to have accuracy.
Sometimes that strategy can work as the game progresses and a little bit more into the second half. Now, Cheetahs de Beer with a drop attempt from just about the halfway line. It's given it a good whack, but it's gone wide. Now, Jasper. Not his best kick of the night.
The Pumas lineouts come under a bit of heat, under a bit of pressure. Cheetahs are competing. And they've got 3 good competitors in Aiden Davis, Victor Sekekete, and Renier Bernardo. Last 2 lineouts have been lost by the Pumas.
Now, sometimes just having a different option, Warren, you know better than I would, but Daniel Martins I know has been used at times in the line-out as well. Maybe an unsuspecting guy to throw it to, but at the moment, the Erling Pumas line-out is a bit of a shambles. Now the chip kick, and a very, very poor bounce there, sadly, for the Cheetahs.
It was the wide kick pass for Cohen Jasper, the Varsity Cup sensation from last season. Such an exciting player. Smith has got a lot of skills, as Chris Smith puts a little chip through, and the bounce was just unfortunate for Jasper.
We touched on that point as well, Warren, about last term. Jasper was so good in the Varsity Cup last season, and no question about that too. You know, we've said this before, but so many good young players have stood up and put their hands up. And I think with all the moves now with the Heineken Cup and the Challenge Cup, and there's this drive almost now to get a little bit like football and start buying players and strengthening your squad, making it bigger, making sure that you're inside the salary cap. There's a lot of work to be done, but that's where I think we're going to benefit too from the players who've had the opportunity of playing Currie Cup and in fact Varsity Cup this year too, who've stood up and been counted.
100%, and in rugby we need pathways for the players to come through from under 20 level to Varsity Cup through to Currie Cup. And we're seeing a lot of these players taking the steps. We're seeing Varsity Cup players playing at Currie Cup players getting URC experience. And of course, we've got those massive URC quarterfinals tomorrow, which are going to be so exciting.
Yeah, maybe a few months ago, it didn't sound like it was going to be that exciting. The way we started in the URC with those away games and our team sort of towards the bottom of the log, but certainly we finished with a real flourish up to now.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's a fantastic tonic for South African rugby to boost South African rugby going forward.
Fine.
Yeah, it does provide a lot of aspiration too for young men being able to ply their trade against European teams. Crystal September.
Take it again.
AJ Jacobs says we've got to have another scrum. Not sure why Crystal September didn't take that out, but maybe he felt that his team or his pack was in a backward motion at the time.
And their scrum has been solid, has the Airlink Pumas. It's their line-up that's been creaking. They basically got 3 props in that front row with Eddie Swart at hooker.
And 139 kilograms of Prinsloo alongside him.
on the tight end. And the very experienced cornet Faree up with the white headgear up against Adonos Kutsia for the Te Ara Cheetahs.
Sit.
Yeah. Ruan Pienaar showing all the experience in the world. Well,
no, he has, Gav. He's got so much experience, but I don't know why they took this as a Channel 1 ball. So they allow this ball to come. It comes Channel 1, comes between the 8th man and the flank. So now it exposes scrum off. Scrum off is under pressure. He knows he's under pressure. He knows Ruan's there. Ruan's presence is there, and he manages to knock him on. It would have been far easier for that to go on Channel 2 to number 8. Number 8 push it around, and then the scrummy can't get around there, and it's much easier to do.
Particularly when you know that your scrum's doing well too, and they have stood well tonight.
Either that, or you've got to have a little back row move to come around, spill around the side to pull that scrum off in and then take him out. But great pressure there from Ruan Pienaar, showing all his experience.
I've got another solution for that. Flick it around the back of
All good. Let's go.
as you turn around so that Pienaar can't get his hands in there. And that could go anywhere, I guess. Victor Sekekete has had a good season for the Cheetahs. As you said, Warren, they've had an exceptional season with a lot of victories. Just the one loss against Griquas last week. And he's had some real polished performances, has Sekekete. I think another big boost as well for the Cheetahs is the fact that Ruan Pienaar and Frans Steyn have both re-signed contracts to continue plying their trade down here in Bloemfontein. That's a great attraction as well for young up-and-coming players to play alongside them. Lawrence. Again, Chris Smith asked to kick it downfield. It's a long chase, this for Mafuda. He's not that keen on kicking the ball. He likes to run with it. This could be really dangerous, this for the Pumas. They need a strong counter-ruck to the Cheetahs, and they didn't get it, but they've lost a penalty.
Gee, it's a pity from the Cheetahs. It was an intelligent kick from Chris Smith. It was a brilliant kick chase from the Cheetahs players.
I'll do it on the next one for you.
That applied pressure on Tapua Mafura. The Cheetahs then flooded that breakdown with numbers.
So no stop for you.
He's been pretty accurate tonight as Tinus Tabia with his kicking out of hand. Oh, that ball brought back, but they're going to have to come back for the line out.
You need to catch it and fall inside. You need to catch it.
Yeah, well, described there by referee Jacobs.
Time off. Yes, yeah. I said, if he's
you need
outside,
to be a little bit of a miracle man.
It, fall inside.
Yeah, it's a great explanation.
You can change your boots, number 1. Boots change.
So he's allowing the boot change, but if you're starting from outside the field of play, you've got to actually catch it. You can't just tap it from outside and bring it back in. Boots broken.
Change his boots.
for Skulk Ferreira, the very experienced Skulk Ferreira. Wouldn't be his first pair of boots that are broken on him. Yeah, he's outside of the field of play, taps it in. He can't do that. He's got to actually catch it if he's outside, starts from outside.
Is he able to do what he did there, but catch it before it hits the ground when it goes in field?
If he can get there,
Yeah,
yes, he can.
because that essentially then, it hasn't touched the field. He's caught it, it's gone backwards. So it's a little bit like in cricket, where a guy would catch the ball inside the field of play.
Step out and step back in again.
But if he's standing outside and it goes back to hand, that doesn't count.
So the problem here for Jasper is he starts from outside, knocks it in. He needed to catch that ball. He couldn't have it go down to ground or go straight to Roscoe Speckman.
Let's check in. Terence, anything your side?
So a fresh pair of boots then for Skulk Ferreira.
Good.
He really has been a servant of South African rugby.
Okay.
Wonderful man, and such a good job over the years. Still plying his trade at the age of 36, I think he is. Yeah, 38. Sorry, Skulk.
Well, he carries it well. He'll take that as a compliment. Spent many seasons playing out of PE with the Southern Kings.
Line's yours.
And there's real value for some of these experienced players. The value of an experienced player in the dressing room when he's sitting alongside a youngster. The value of a player sitting next to Frans Steyn, Rowan Pienaar, it rubs off. It's so important.
And even more so when they're on the field of play with him.
Time back on.
So short line out here, called by the Pumas, and to the back it goes. Well done by Shane Kirkwood. It's not a great kick that, because the counter-attack is often where the Cheetahs really come to life. Van der Merwe then, and the long pass, they've got a few extra men here. Andre Rudolph will not beat them for pace, but he'll back himself when it comes to holding on to the ball.
Tackle.
So Smith, and here's Sekekete. It's a high tackle on him. Referee has let that go, out from Lawrence. And then it's been hoofed into touch by Roscoe Speckman.
5.
Yep, they did. He did see it. The high tackle.
We saw the Pumas go for the little kick chip. And that really is in response to the defence from the Cheetahs. Has been far better this week. In your face defence. And we're seeing Roscoe Speckman as well. We're often seeing him almost the first receiver off fly half, and then coming in that playmaking role, using his feet, using his speed, taking the ball to the advantage line, looking for the offload. That's the man, Shane Kirkwood. He took the line-out ball, Taylor line-out for the Pumas, and made the high tackle here on Victor Sekekete.
Now, talking of Speckman, I mean, you've seen that from so many of the Blitzbokke, and of course he played a lot for the Blitzbokke. How the all-round game has developed since playing for their country in the limited version of the game, rather. When I say limited, that's in number. Then you can see how the Pumas quite happy to keep carrying the ball upfield, even from within their own 22. His intentions are very clear. I believe there could be some susceptibility out wide. Here's Willie Engelbrecht. Now he's got Stichling outside him, but decides to go back in field. De Beer. Quite neat play that from De Beer. Held up eventually by Aiden Davis.
Taken back.
Yeah, September. Knows he can't kick that out directly into touch because the ball was taken back into the 22. And he's got Devon Williams standing waiting to
Stop all of
hoof
you,
it downfield. Jasper, long throw in from him. Speckman, which way does he go? Has a look. Eventually runs into a little bit of a traffic jam. Aiden Davis's grabber kick has kept the Cheetahs in the half of the the Pumas, and I think that's really been one of the things they've done pretty well, which has always placed a lot of pressure on the Pumas.
The territorial pressure is so important. Game really building up at the moment. We're seeing the Pumas quite prepared to run from deep. Cheetahs trying to use territory, use that kicking game, use the defensive wall that they've got.
And the Pumas have lost 3 of their own lineouts, which they won't be happy with. That's why they've gone to the shorter version. Used Slubbert on this occasion. Sekekete coming through a little bit too quickly there.
It didn't come off the top. I think he thought it was going to come off the top from Slubbert. Slubbert caught it, brought it down to ground, then put it out to the 9. That's one of those things, Gav. If you get it right, you can flood straight through and put pressure on Scrummy. He's thinking he's going to get it from the top, doesn't he? Dummies, he goes. He's offside. Good play there from Slubbert.
So the Cheetahs waiting to see how many men are going to join this line out. What is the decision by the Pumas? I think they're going to go with 5. So they've got Slubbert and Kirkwood essentially as the primary jumpers. And once again, it doesn't work for them.
Taken back.
It'll be a real worry that for Jimmy Stonehouse. They really want to clean up their line-out act. Andre Rudolph. Ron Pienaar takes it upon himself to execute the kick to touch, and it's a pretty good one as well from the scrum half. Game of chess at the moment, isn't it, between these two teams?
Yeah, it really is, but the stalemate's coming here at line-out time. They're a big problem here. They're trying to get some movement, but they're moving their players straight to where the jumper is from the Cheetahs. So they put Makondwana onto the spot where Victor Sekekete was. Sekekete was in front of him as well, so he's always going to beat him and get that ball. They need to run into the space or draw the players away. Again, they make a mistake.
Well, they made a mistake, but here comes Tennis De Beer. Can he finish this off? That's brilliant play this by the former junior Springbok. Lovely little swerve there from the fly half. And he's got another unsuspected try for the Pumas.
It's really good from De Beer. Opportunistic, gets the ball, bouncing ball at the tail of the line out, and shows the value of running at 100 miles an hour when you're going to hit this ball. Gets it. Sidestep, comes inside, beats Kasende. Beautiful work by De Beer. Really good work by the fly half. Backed himself and did the running with conviction. That was the important thing.
So that's 2 tries against the run of play. And a successful conversion as well from Eddie Fisher.
Makondwana goes up. You got to wonder, was it maybe a dummy from Makondwana with the way that Tennis De Beer ran onto that ball with a lot of purpose. Superb try from the fly half.
At times the Cheetahs looking like they've got a little bit of Griquas blues from last week. Not quite getting everything sorted out. But certainly 2 tries against the run of play for the Pumas, but they'll take that and be happy with the 14 points they've got. Fanamava. Good play that from the open side flanker.
He's another man that's extended his contract with the Cheetahs.
Back inside from Erbison, and the Cheetahs have now got a penalty.
Never onside.
5.5 minutes left of this first half, and the Cheetahs really want to try and get another try if they can.
We saw the first try from the Cheetahs coming from the line out, but on the other side of the field with Louis Van der Westhuizen, who got in and scored. All these players not behind the last man's feet. They've got to get behind the last man's feet at that ruck. And they didn't do so and found themselves in an offside position. Opportunity now for the Cheetahs to strike back.
Just one of the Cheetahs lineouts going awry tonight. Otherwise, they've been very successful. Well, it was supposed to be for Sekikete. Arnas Kutsi has done really well. Managed to hold on to that, make some valuable meterage. Here comes Scott Ferreira. This is good play this by the Cheetahs. Can they finish this off somehow? Van der Westhuizen. This is where patience and accuracy become so important. Chris Smith held up too by Eddie Fouchier. He's managed to secure the possession. Sekikete. That's better ball. Van der Merwe. Well, it's been turned over quite brilliantly, one's got to say, by the Pumas. They're in all sorts of trouble. Have they managed to hold on to it? Does look like they have. Yes, September.
Stay on. All of you stay.
And it's another solid kick from Tinus de Beers. Having a good game as the fly half for the Pumas.
That's quality on the ground there from the Pumas to turn that ball over in that situation. Van der Merwe bounces off Engelbrecht. Gets tackled by Slavik. In goes Daniel Martins, the little open side flanker. And somehow manages to get that back. How did he do that, Martins?
That's his job. That's his job, and he's done a really good effort with it too, one's got to say.
Well, he attacks the breakdown, does the little open sider.
Good solid catch there from Aiden Davis. Nice options that the Cheetahs have at line-out time.
Playing advantage for a high tackle.
Rudolph just bouncing off the first two tackles. It's here. That's the pass I was talking about. That long one. Yes, Kasende. Good play from Daniel Kasende. Eventually he's hauled in by Devin Williams. Bernardo.
Let's check if that's more than a high tackle. Good attempt. First man in, no advantage.
Well, it's just about 38 minutes. You take the 3 points now.
Well, they back that line out. This is high here from...
If you scream on me again, I'm going to return it. Do you understand me?
Difficult one again for Cheetahs de Beer. Chris Smith bends down low at the hips and the knees as he goes into contact.
Thank you.
Well, they've decided they want 7 points. They don't want 3.
Now, the one thing the Cheetahs do is they back their line out, they back their drive.
I've seen one drive from them in exactly the corner that they're in at the moment. Scored by Louis van der Westhuizen. A solitary try for the Cheetahs in this first half. And there probably won't be competition from the Pumas here. They'll be looking to defend. So will it be a clean catch? It is for Bernardo. Van der Westhuizen holding at the back. Here they come. The backline players doing their bit to get the forward motion. Here he comes and over he goes.
Power. Pure power from this Toyota Cheetahs team. The spectators love it. The Cheetahs faithful love it. Chris Smith, he's had a good game in this first half for the Toyota Cheetahs. Finds himself in the unlikely position in the drive. It's taken up front by Bernardo. Shot away the rook from Gideon van der Merwe. The transfer to Louis van der Westhuizen. They get it going forward. They get the Pumas on roller skates. They start retreating. They start rolling backwards. They stay connected. Chris Smith comes in on the ball. got the ref asking to go up for a TMO.
Ball shift driver in this.
Okay.
This is the view now.
Was there
So the actions of 6 goes into 5. So we're going to show it again now. We'll go back to that shot for you now.
Okay. So I can tell you what I'm seeing from here. 6 goes into 5. That is in front. It's not the guy that comes down with the ball. Is that what we're looking at?
That's exactly what we're looking at. So he does not make contact with the rip. He goes straight into the guy that's in front of him, which is obstruction.
So that's exactly what I see. So cancel the try. It's going to be a penalty against White for obstruction.
That is correct.
Okay. Just want to explain to Rob. I just want to explain to you. So the guy that comes down with the ball, the ripper takes the ball and then make contacts with the guy with 5. That's not the jumper. So therefore it's obstruction. So I'm going to cancel the try. It's going to be a penalty against you. Okay. No try. Obstruction.
Well, there's the decision for obstruction. You heard it from AJ Jacobs. Once again, you can see the benefit of technology providing us with
10 meters.
an answer to a question there.
Penalty, yep.
That'll be really disappointing as well for the Cheetahs.
There's the
It
clock
seemed to
now,
be
so if you want,
really
you
good
have to tap it if you
execution.
want to.
No, that's immensely disappointing for the Cheetahs. Technical, very technical penalty.
So 5 is the ball carrier. He comes down, so the ripper needs to make contact with him. You made contact with. You made contact with 5 that was next to him. That's obstruction. That's you. Yes.
How's it next to me? He's on a shift
He needs to
Well,
make
there'll be a
contact
lot of
with the ball
discussions
carrier. That's
around
4.
it,
He's
as
the
there
guy that
are at the
caught ball
moment
in
with the
line.
referee,
He needs to make
and
contact.
a better understanding of things. But here at half-time then at the Toyota Stadium in Bloemfontein, it's the Pumas leading the Cheetahs 14-7.
That's what greatness looks like. That is what the great ones do.
That's a goosebump moment.
The US Open, June 17 on Sky Sport.
With rugged coastlines, artisan food, and a rich ancient history,
It's just heaven for us.
Rick Stein explores the many wonders of Cornwall
I must say, it couldn't look better than today.
to find out what makes this place truly special.
You know, Cornwall's got it all.
Rain or shine in the summer here in Cornwall with great, good spirit.
Rick Stein's Cornwall, Saturdays 7:30 on Living.
Spider-Man is in fact Peter Parker.
My entire life got screwed up. Could you make it so that Mysterio never revealed my identity?
You ready?
Whoa, hang on. What just happened?
We tampered with the stability of space-time. The multiverse is a concept about which we know frighteningly little.
Hello, Peter.
With Sky Go, nothing gets in the way of watching the shows you love. Whether you're on the go or just having a duvet day, Sky Go makes it easy to stream the big game or binge a box set. Browse the TV guide and remote record to your My Sky box from anywhere in New Zealand. Watch it your way on your smartphone, tablet or laptop, or cast to the big screen. Sky Go, it's Sky that goes with you. Download the app now for free.
See the world in a cup of tea. The new series, 1 Cup, 1,000 1,000 stories. Sundays, 8:30 on BBC Earth.
Who's it going to be then? When the lights go out, we're going! Oh! We got another one down!
You can't take your eyes off the British Superbikes. Live on Sky Sport.
Straight all night.
Well, it's a first half that I almost thought was going to be like a Sunday afternoon stroll after the first 20-odd minutes of the game. But it's the Pumas who currently lead. 2 tries against the run of play to the Cheetahs 1. We find ourselves 14 points to 7 down at the Toyota Stadium. Good evening from myself and Nas, actually, for the first time. And Nas, again, it's one of those first halves that it could have been slow, but it seemed to sort of pick up every now and then as we were going through.
Yeah, but it's some brilliant play by some individuals. But if we look at the first try, you know, the thing is, it looked like a bad play by Speckman, but it's actually not a bad play, because it looked like he was only going to be the passer of the ball.
Yeah.
So that means the support player should have been a lot closer.
Almost as if to run that crash ball line, Nas, on the short pass.
So that means, you know, if you play that role, that means you're going to get tackled. So the player on the outside should just be a little bit closer. If he was going to be the playmaker, he should have been a lot deeper. And in that sequence, you could see he was never going to be the playmaker. The playmaker.
Yeah.
Was only going to pop the ball. So mistake, I believe, by the back line. And then there's another thing that's really very obvious is the time they take to form lineouts. Now, a year or two ago, Rossi had a lot of things to say. Let's speed up play. Absolutely correct. Look how long it takes to do a lineout.
Yeah.
You know, we trying to get to 38, 40, 45, 50 minutes of playing time, but we're wasting 50 minutes of doing nothing.
And I think one or two things that's important to note as well, Nas, is that a lot of these lineouts are coming off of penalties, where the team have the opportunity to set and get their calls before the ball is even kicked out of play to start off with.
Absolutely, Sam. That's the thing. That's why we're taking it out to say, but boys, we're all trying to see more rugby, but we are wasting so much time by just making a call, you know?
Yeah.
And then if you make the call, win the lineout.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that we saw as well. The Cheetahs did manage to get themselves back into the game throughout that first half. And again, something that we've seen them do throughout the entirety of the season. This line-out of theirs and their maul has been so accurate, along with Ruan Pienaar's kicking in Frans Steyn, that put them so close to that goal line when they've got to get into the maul.
Yeah, this was quite an interesting call, because I think, Sam, everybody thought it was a try, okay? And then we heard that the ball was transferred from you to me, and that was sort of a breakaway, and then it was obstruction.
Yeah, that was a little bit
somebody
later
else
on.
was binding on somebody else and whatever. Yeah. And that's why it's a little bit complicated sometimes, you know. And that's why the TMO is playing a part in a number of calls.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what you would like to see is we would like to see speed up play, and we would like to see mistakes like that just not happen in a game, because that's why you're doing your work during the week, is to finish on the weekend.
Let's speak about picking up from mistakes, Nas, and this is exactly what Tinas de Beer did here. And something that you mentioned about how deliberate his running was, and just how he looked to capitalize on the mistake from the Cheetahs.
Absolutely a mistake, but fantastic play by the individual. You know, Tina's really there. I love that little step. I saw the David Campisi goose step. He tried that. That actually worked. Come on, let's be fair. It worked, but then really a nice little step to finish off. Let's just hope we get, because the first half wasn't bad quality. Let's be fair, not bad quality. It can be a little bit quicker.
We're going to have a look at some of the statistics as well, Nas, that are coming out of that first half, and a couple of things to take notes of there. One of them at the very, very, very bottom. You look at that territory statistic as well, and you saw that the Cheetahs had a lot of ball very quickly. We've got about 20 seconds before we need to get into the second half. How did the Cheetahs win today?
The most important thing is start controlling when you've got the ball.
And controlling until we do get to the ball. It's one of the things that needs to happen for the Toyota Cheetahs out here today, because we've seen last week, perhaps shades of last week starting to come through a little bit as well, as they do look to lick their wounds. But they've only got 40 minutes to get it right, because the Pumas have come out with a bit of a challenge here today. How are the Cheetahs going to find themselves back into this game in front of their home crowd? Let's go find out in the second half.
islands of the west coast of Scotland are some of the most beautiful on Earth, and I'm on an odyssey to explore them. Because the story of these islands is part of my story too. My family's Scotland. It's nice. Scotland. It's magical landscapes. And spectacular sights. I'm so excited about going there.
Sunday, Darcy Bustle's Wild Coast of Scotland on Vibe.
Benvenuto in Italia.
Arrivederci. I haven't been back in 45 years. I'm reopening my Nono's vineyard.
You're dreaming.
I got to do this for the people, the town, and maybe even me.
I don't know how to make wine.
Does anybody know how to make wine here?
Nobody.
Okay, so we Google it.
From the Vine, Saturday, 8:30 on Rialto Selection. Then available with Sky Go and On Demand.
Strap in for Sail GP Season 3. Iconic locations around the world host these cutting-edge F-50s. With Switzerland and Canada joining the championship, there will be new rivalries and more drama. Get ready for adrenaline-fueled racing.
Forces involved there, unbelievable.
United States Sail GP starts June 19, live Sky Sport.
Of course, the Pumas line-out was faltering in that first half. I think they conceded a couple line-outs. They've also slipped a couple tackles, and they haven't had all the territory or possession, but they lead on the scoreboard 14 points to 7.
Now, for some teams, I guess the territory thing won't worry them that much. It would always worry me, because that's when you are so susceptible to. And I want to improve that, but I think their lineouts will be their biggest worry. Can they overcome those dreaded efforts in the lineouts in the first half? Bernardo.
Daniel Martins yet again.
That's brilliant play from Daniel Martins, who will be playing for the Cheetahs next season. But at the moment, he's with the Pumas. Fouchier. That's a great kick from Eddie Fouchier. Who's going to win the race? I think it's going to be Devin Williams. Now, was anybody in front of the kicker?
Well, did you see grounding? I didn't see any grounding. Did you see the grounding with your...
I didn't see the grounding. I'm not quite sure, but...
So, okay. Quentin, on-field decision, no try. We don't have clear grounding.
Oh, goodness.
All right, AJ was going to get the best view for you there to see if we've got possible grounding or not. So on for the decision, no try.
Yeah.
Beautiful kick through. This is Devin Williams. He's got to make contact, hand, ball and ground simultaneously.
He's done that. I think
hand, ground, ball, simultaneous.
Unless that's somebody else's hand, that surely has got to be a try.
Yep, there it is there. No problem with that.
So AJ, you can change your on-field decision to try. You've got to clearly grounded.
Again, technology brought into play, which is great, and it's fine, and it doesn't show weaknesses in people, one's got to say. It just provides you with the opportunity of getting it right.
Get the decision right, then that is exactly what you want. A little wink from Devin Williams. What a score that was. There was a lot of skill involved here. It starts here, right here with a strip by Daniel Martins. He puts his hand in almost like a chainsaw, pulls the hand up, wins the ball. He still lays on the ground. I think he got to hurt himself in the process, but he won his team the ball, got his team on the front foot. Then this little kick from Eddie Fouchier, he weaves it through the players. It is weighted perfectly, and the chase comes from Devin Williams. Quality stuff from the Airline Pumas.
Eddie Fouchier with a tough conversion. Just slightly past that right hand upright. Wasn't a big miss, but I tell you what, we've got a game in our hands here.
Accuracy of pass here, and then the reading of what to do. Stabs that through, left-footed. The chase from Devin Williams. A turning Roscoe Speckman can't get there. What a start to the second half for the Pumas.
Catch coming from Mafura. And it's gone now flipped out. Wow, dangerous pass, but nevertheless they're looking to try and regroup here. And they've won a penalty too.
Hands past the ball.
Cheetahs are letting themselves down when they're in favourable positions. Lou van der Westhuizen with his hands going past the ball and then coming back towards it, which is illegal.
Here's the old banana kick, does Cheetahs de Beer. Getting themselves into hot water there with the Pumas. Here Tapia realises he's in an uncompromising position, just throws it backwards. The ball between the legs from Crystal September. This could have gone horribly wrong.
So the Pumas just having to regroup here too, but they've given away a penalty. Lots of cheering there from the Cheetahs players. And Gideon van der Merwe.
You've got 8 screaming the whole time. You've got 12 screaming the whole time. Please, next time I'm going to penalise them.
Well, I think it's Chris Smith who's maybe been a little bit vociferous in his criticism maybe of some of the decisions or whatever it might be, where the referee's not happy with it. And he's spoken to Pienaar about it. And one thing the Cheetahs have got to do is focus on rugby right now, because they're behind by those 12 points.
Let's switch on. What's that line?
And the Pumas are giving them a bit of a gap. They've been very loose since that score by Devin Williams, throwing the ball around, going out of structure.
All the men in the line out. They want that for them all. Now Sekekete with a catch.
Use it once!
Pumas desperately holding on here. And they've done pretty well up to now. The Cheetahs will want to get that ball out. Otherwise it's going to be a scrum to the Pumas. Well, it's a penalty to the Cheetahs. I'm not too sure what that's for.
Do you think the Pumas got themselves into position? Only once it went out did he blow the penalty.
Line is yours. They're going to be on the line, so just move over. On the line.
The defence of that maul was really good from the Pumas. They're now calling that corner for as an offside position, but he worked his way there from the beginning.
I'm standing with my hands and I'm time off. That's it.
Naughty boy Louis van der Westhuizen.
Time on.
The teacher said, you've got to wait. Desperate to get it in. Will Victor Sekekete be the man? No, he's not. It's Aiden Davis. Again, it's a good setup by the Cheetahs, which gets them all going. And still they charge, and so they get over.
Well, it's the man with the huge work rate, the man that's got more than, well, he's got 3 lungs, he'll never stop working. He's just signed the contract, extended his contract with the Tiara Cheetahs. He came across from Grequas, he's made that jersey his own. Competes on the ground, makes endless tackles. Gideon van der Merwe, good take there by Aiden Davis. A good line-out option. And just power, and eventually he muscles his way over. Does Gideon van der Merwe.
Well, there'll be lots of cheering in his hometown of Potchefstroom. And he's got a try which is really needed by the Cheetahs. They've been so close on a couple of occasions. His 13th try in this year's Carling Currie Cup. So 7 points the difference as things stand at the moment. Here's Pinar. Very good kick from him. So it's down to 5 points the difference right now.
He gets a round of applause from the try scorer. Does Ruan Pinar. No ambiguity from this Cheetahs side. You knew that they were going to go from the drive. The opposition knew, but they still could not stop it. Irresistible. A wave of white and orange.
John Bray Rudolph with a catch. Gets away from the first tackle. Does a really good job there. Gets everyone on the front foot.
Outside! Outside!
No, carry from Davis.
Tackle, release, release!
Pinar.
Stay here. Stay.
From George Lawrence is a pretty good one. Up for Tennis De Beer. He's been very secure with most of his execution and also his fielding of the ball. One almost gets the feeling at times that the Pumas are quite happy to throw caution to the wind in their quest for more points. And of course can open up things for the Cheetahs. September.
Stay 9.
Pretty good kick from Tennis to be up for Cohen Jasper.
You notice how much more circumspect the Pumas were when they chased that kick. They stood off Cohen Jasper. They gave him a little bit of space. Jasper got in the air. Unfortunately, just knocked that ball on.
He's normally so secure in catching balls. He's got really a good skill set. And it's disappointing, but I guess the ball's not really wet out. There's not much dew out there, so he just didn't quite get it right.
Yeah, and in that case, unlike last week, we didn't have everyone competing for the ball in the air. He had a free go. This is Slubbert, who has stepped in that locked position.
Okay.
A little bit of attention to the shoulder.
Kan jullie twee nou op een Rico battle? Kan jullie twee nou op een Rico battle? Dat is pas
ready to bring on some replacements. Dean Slubbert just giving some attention to that shoulder. It's been a tough year, I think, in many ways for Jimmy Stonehouse when it comes to lock forwards.
They've had their injuries. They've had their share of injuries, and they stretched their resource. It means they've really got two loose forwards on the bench. They've got Kwanda Damaza, who can do a job at lock, and Andre Fouchier, who we saw a lot of in the Varsity Cup this season, number 8 for the Eagles.
Monica Kutsia there, just warming up. He'll be one of the replacement front rows.
Get it out, so there's a space for you.
Luta Chapweni will also be, so there may be those two changes in the front row. It's the one area where the Pumas have been pretty solid this evening.
Coach!
And it's the scrums. And lineouts have been quite abysmal.
It's just a bind, boys. Let's keep that weight. Let's go again.
So Scott Pereira would probably be one of the men coming off as a 38-year-old. Probably no such luck for Ruan Pinar. You stay on.
He's staying on.
Oh, but I'm 38. Yeah, but you're not a loose-head prop forward in the engine room.
Prinsloo in the tight head up against Skulk Ferreira that you mentioned on the near side.
Coach!
Yeah, he's a miracle as well, is Scott Ferreira, with the neck problems he's had over the years.
Oh, he's had big issues.
He's still playing rugby. He's quite remarkable. Well, this is a penalty advantage here for the Pumas. Now, what do they do here too? They've got 3 tries. There's still plenty of time in this game. Do they look for another 3 points now just to try and stretch that lead again? No.
Nope, they're going to knock it downtown into the 22 and start asking the Cheetahs a few questions of their own, perhaps, on drive.
Well, they've got to get the ball into the line-out properly to start with. And they have that opportunity now. What could it be?
Yeah, so
Time off. White, line is yours.
We're going to have a whole lot of subs coming on for the Cheetahs.
1, 3, 4, 15 now. Sub, White.
Well, they're going to bring them on now too.
Clearance, just get in front of him because it's time off.
First.
Just get in front of him, please.
I just don't think there's any wisdom in bringing on players when you're that close to your try line.
It's time off, boys. We're just waiting for the subs.
Okay, well, AJ Jacobs wants them to come on.
All good, subs, mate. All good. Thank you.
No.
Time back on.
The call comes from the pitch side to say they'll do it after this play.
That's 100% the right decision.
Correct. Of course, in the Cheetahs' mind, they've been so successful at competing, so they're going to be in two minds whether they need to get up or they need to stem the drive.
Well, Kirkwood with a catch. It was a good throw in and the line out. And they're looking to try and take that forward now if they can.
That's once!
Still held at the back by one. Swart, and it comes! Swart's got over! A hugely important try that for the Pumas.
Let's get out, thank you.
Well, you know what? John Rudolph, of course, has played for the Pumas, so they all know each other quite well. But they've got the fourth try, which is important, so that's already secured a bonus point for them.
Ek ken die proses. Die team moet dit skerp. So we're going to have a word as well. Vinnie.
They're going to have a chat to the two captains. Body pushing is not a sport.
There's a little bit of tug of war out there every set piece. That stops now. And the next guy that's going to start it, we're going to deal with it. Get the word over, and then you know the process. We'll check everything. Okay.
Now, one of the virtues of a maul, and what you need to do is be exceptionally patient. You might take a step or two back initially. Hold. There's got to be a whole lot of communication. It's happening on the front. The guys are working, and then the power comes and he bursts straight through it. It opens up, and Eddie Swart gets in for that fourth try.
Yep.
And then there's a little bit of pushing and shoving afterwards.
No.
It breaks, it splinters, it cracks open, and the ball carrier is at the front of it, and there's a big smile on the face of Eddie Swart.
So this to extend the lead to 12 points. Oh, that's a better strike from Eddie for sure, just when it was needed by his team.
Well, the coaching staff there.
Time off, subs.
Of the Airlink Pumas.
1, 3, 4, sub.
And sub comes through, all the players are going to leave in response to this try from Eddie Swart. A lot of work up front. Eventually it splinters, fractures. And they stretch that lead to 26 points to 14.
So Clayton Blommetjies onto the park too. Here comes De Beer. I think he would have liked to have kicked it, but he didn't get the opportunity of doing that. Ricky Barnard on as well for Ranier Bernardo. Now September, he's got Eddie Fisher back in the pocket and Devin Williams with that left boot of his.
All on side.
There's Blommetjies. He won't be playing for the Cheetahs next year. He's going down to Cape Town.
He gets a big roar from the crowd. Does Clayton Blommetjies.
This is better play now. Smith into a little bit of space.
Good tackle, Kirkwood.
I've got that on the ball.
Well, looks like there's a real knock of heads possibly here.
Let the medics do that.
If we've done the right thing, just getting the medical staff on very quickly.
Yeah, it's well done there by the ref, AJ Jacobs. It's a big hit, big collision from Pumzile Makondwana.
Well, I've never been in a boxing ring, but I'm pretty sure that taking a punch on the chin straight on like that is almost going to knock you senseless, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's chest straight to the head. Oh, Van der Merwe.
Well, definitely going to be an HIA, a head injury assessment. Not so sure about Makondana. Boom.
The problem for Makondana is he stayed very upright in it when he went into the contact and didn't flex and drop his height. The height was dropped from Van der Merwe.
Slightly Morsi is also going to come onto the park in the meanwhile for the Cheetahs. We have another relook at that Makondana and Gideon van der Merwe collision.
So I do see a player at fault.
Speed, so he's going to use it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Of danger.
Yeah. So, and there's mitigation because the player dipped into it.
That's correct, yes. So the mitigating factor is that the ball carrier has dipped into this. There is head contact.
Yeah. And
penalty yellow.
Yeah, 7. Okay.
As well. Just the one just before that.
We will have with that. Yeah. Sure. So 7. Direct contact to the head, high level of danger. There is a mitigation because the player dipped into it. So it's going to be a yellow card.
Makondana not going to be too happy with that yellow card, that's for certain.
No, he's not going to be happy. The problem for Phumzile Makondana is that he didn't drop his height. He didn't drop his height significantly. The mitigating factor was that Gideon van der Merwe had dropped his height, so he was lower down. And I think the right call has been made.
I think if Makondana had actually dropped his height, they probably had a straight clash of heads. Nevertheless, it's a yellow card, so it's really, once again, it's game on, isn't it? 15 against 14.
Yeah, and Makali Mossi's on the field.
Another line-out option as well.
Another line-out option. 4 line-out options now for the Cheetahs.
Oh, they're going to need them.
That's once!
Their line-outs worked well tonight. And they really scored a couple of tries. They've done really well with their drive upfield. The backline players come in to try and lend a hand to. Still they come, and over they go. Yep. It's another good try. This is 3 for the Westhuizen that's got it. And that's try number 3 for the Cheetahs.
Louis van der Westhuizen in for the 3rd try. Again from a drive. All 3 from the same source, from the same origin. The backline players desperate to come in and assist their forwards with the drive. They've already got the numerical advantage. They get chased back by AJ Jacobs. Then he says they can come in. They come in and there's 3 extra players. Ruan Pienaar, both centres, in to add their weight. And Louis van der Westhuizen will spin around, pirouette around, open up the space and drop over the line. To chip away at that lead that the Pumas have. It was important that they scored their try quickly with that yellow card to try use that numerical advantage to the best of their abilities.
That's another solid kick from Ruan Pienaar, playing in his 50th match for the Cheetahs tonight and showing all the experience in the world. Here's the try scorer, Louis van der Westhuizen.
Again, the patience, all connected. Looking for a point of weakness. Once it's spotted, that's exploited there by van der Westhuizen.
Well, it's one score away now for the Cheetahs. What is going to be the plan is the question, I suppose, from the Pumas. Here comes Speckman. Just love watching him darting around the field. Aiden Davis.
Yeah, he also previously played for the Pumas.
Taken back.
Smith coming back in field.
Revon Currie has come on and scrum off.
Taken back.
Pino at 10.
Davis. Neat play that by the flanker. Just seems to be a greater urgency in this Cheetahs team right now. Maybe inspired by that try that's just been scored. Pino.
Taken back, stop, 21.
It's a huge kick from Clayton Blommetjies. Back for Devin Williams. He decides, let me try and poke that down into touch. Now, it'll be an up and under.
Keep moving wide.
No, it's not. It's a lengthy kick, but it's gone directly into touch. So they're going to come back almost to the 22 of the Cheetahs.
Oh, it's a matter of millimeters, but too much from Clayton Blommetjies. We can see this straight away. They've almost tried to turn the volume up, turn the tap on. Have the Cheetahs. They've conceded field possession. Opportunity now for the Pumas. The bench being played, all the players off onto the field. Blommetjies an exciting fullback.
Yeah, the style of rugby that's played here in Bloemfontein really does suit him. Clayton Blommetjies, as we know, he's such a good all-round player. Played all forms of the game too. Loves to attack, but so does Cohen Jasper, once got to say. Started this game at fullback, but here they come now, the Cheetahs, looking for that fresh rhythm that they've got. Pinar. Smith, the long pass. Well, it doesn't get long because Daniel Kasende it was who managed to get onto it. Mafura rather. Now they come. Swart, he's already scored one try. September. Kirkwood.
Did well to Kirkwood.
Good contest, offside.
Now this is not always helping the cause of the Pumas, Warren, because if they do search for the touchline again, the last line-out was a good one, but generally their line-outs have been abysmal.
Now you get the feeling right now they've got to take the 3 points. This game has become a real contest, a real arm wrestle.
Just 10.
Cheetahs have upped the ante, up the tempo. They've got a numerical advantage. They've got a man in the bin, have the Pumas at the moment. You want to eat into that clock. You want to run it down. You want to use your full minute, which is, I'm sure, what Eddie Fouchier will do, and then add the 3 points. And take it to an 8-ball ball game, which means that it needs and requires 2 scores from the Cheetahs to pull the Pumas back.
This will be the first successful, if it goes over, kick this evening in penalty format. All the penalties are being kicked for the touchline. Easy enough for Eddie Fouchier. And as Warren Brosnan was saying now, 8 points the difference. The Cheetahs have got to score twice.
Oh, that intercept there from Mafura. So important, so very, very important.
Up for it, Slubbert.
Brilliant by Slubbert.
September just looking to see what his options are from the base of the ruck.
Use 9.
De Beer in place.
Taken back, deep pass, stop.
So he knows he can't kick that out directly into the hands of Blommetjies. This could be danger time too. If he takes the right option here, which might not have been, but anyway, he's opened it up for Aiden Davis.
Good tackle by Slubbert.
Always off. Easy.
10 penalties tonight conceded by the Cheetahs.
It's the reserve scrum off, Revon Currie. They talk about a player coming into the ruck situation. You've got to be an aeroplane taking off, not an aeroplane diving in and crashing. And that's what he was.
Same message that I gave the Cheetahs. This player screaming now.
So again, it's Timus de Beer who takes that kick with the right foot and bananas it into touch. It's a pretty good kick as well, I must say.
Yeah, very good banana kick.
It's the way you went in.
Davis takes in, the player comes in from the side, off his feet and over the top.
There those penalties, 10 to the Cheetahs, 9 to the Pumas. You have an expectation in a game that was always going to be tight. There will be penalties, of course. There does seem to be a rather large number out from Swart. That's neat enough play that from the Pumas. It's a slow delivery from the breakdown point. September. Back in the field it goes to Slubbert.
Oh, good defensive line speed from the Cheetahs.
Well, the Cheetahs are spread across the field too, making sure that they keep that straight line as best as they can. Seb de Klerk, it's neat play that from the centre three-quarter. No real room for Mafura to move in. Now September.
Not on the ball, not on the ball.
Well, September had to extricate himself there. Hauled into that ruck. De Beer, the long pass. Now Devin Williams. This is the sort of game that he likes as well. When it gets a little bit looser and they can open things up. He's a danger man. And we just had news as well that yellow card man, Kundana, will not be coming back onto the field. Will be replaced with a substitute. In the meanwhile, Mafura was standing on the near side here, out of picture, asking for a cross kick. But everything was tangled up there amongst the forwards to start with.
Another penalty conceded, another decision for Captain Willie Engelbrecht. He'll speak to his kicker Eddie Fouchier. Eddie Fouchier says, yes sir, I'll get it, I'll take it, I'll have a shot, I'll have a crack, I'll try to stretch this lead even further. Getting it to the fringes, leaving their feet and not supporting his own body weight was Robert Everson.
Well, the judge, Rudolph, seems somewhat bemused. Anyway, that decision's been taken, and I think it's the right thing as well, Warren, in many ways, in that I think territory-wise, they're looking a lot better this half, the Pumas, than they did in that first half. And that just applies a lot more pressure on the Cheetahs who want to run the ball back at them.
And also their possession, they're up at 57% now for the second half.
You can see the sub.
A lot of pressure coming from the team in grey and pink from Mbumbela.
Well, he watched it all the way in the knowledge that it was going to go past the right-hand upright. So another opportunity goes a-begging for the Pumas.
Okay, send them on, subs.
Couple more changes. David Brits onto the park too. Will be in place, I think, of Robert Eberson.
Just hold, just hold.
We also see Andre Fouchier coming on in jersey 20
back on.
For the Pumas.
So a kick downfield from Blomikis. And a return high ball to beautifully plucked out of the air. Currie, Van der Westhuizen.
No more.
Pienaar.
Stop, anyone, stop.
That's a good kick that from Ruan Pienaar has pushed Timus de Beer right back towards his try line.
Keep moving.
And I think both teams realise the importance now of playing territory where they can too.
Oh, Gavin, the stakes are high at the moment for both these teams.
Both try. Pumas, sub.
Number 2, Pumas off. Eddie Swart, I know the line-out has malfunctioned, but his general play of the scrumming has been really good from Eddie Fischer. Replaced by Llewellyn Claassen.
That's you.
The stakes are high. Both teams trying to get position, juggling for position within that Carling Currie Cup semi-finals. Cheetahs wanting to get the top position, Pumas wanting to get into the top 4.
Right on the line, open. Right on the line, in the middle.
Wanting to roll the dice right now, both teams.
So Sekaketi with a catch. This time it's the Cheetahs that have got the penalty. And no doubt they'll be probing for that corner flag. It's a decent enough kick that from Ruan Pinar too.
Oh, he's got such incredible accuracy. That's the log. As it stands right now, the Cheetahs remain on 41 points. They don't move their way up the log. The Pumas get themselves into 4th on 27. Remember, the Sharks on 24 have still got the Lions to play. That's happening tomorrow. It's all happening in that top 5.
And then we could have a bumper weekend next week.
It's amazing.
What's your umpire going down there?
With 2 of the games determining exactly that. The top 4, of course, and their semi-finals will be played.
Ndisa Nsila on the field, taking the ball up.
Rivan Krier waiting for it now, with the men standing off. Oh, slow delivery that, and the Cheetahs will be angry with themselves.
That's quality. It's real quality. It's the counter drive, the counter ruck. Cheetahs thought they had the ball out. Willie Engelbrecht ends up cleaning one of their players into their scrum half clear and slowing the ball down. The ball will pop out here. He gets it into his hands, then the counter ruck comes here, bang, into the scrum off.
Just all a little bit messy that for the home team. Some attention for Prinsloo at the moment. And that right shoulder of his, but he seems to be okay.
All good. Come back on.
He's lost a bit of weight in this this game, man.
So it depends where the stats come from. But it's a big shift from both props for the Pumas at the moment, Corne Fourie and Prinsloo. Of course, the change, Llewellyn Claassen in that front row for the Pumas.
He's just getting the water off that somebody forgot. Okay, let's go.
Just waiting for Willie Engelbrecht to get back on the park, which he is now.
Time back on.
And 2 new props for the Tiara Cheetahs. Maluta Shakwani and Marne Kutsia. All about the exit here for this Airlink Pumas team.
Yeah, well, September's got Devin Williams on the one side, Tennis to be on the other, to launch a kick into touch. Haven't seen him kicking a lot from the base of the scrum, but I think he's been under a lot of pressure there at times too.
At the back. Stay.
De Beers kick downfield. That's a pretty good kick. In fact, it's an excellent kick into the Cheetahs half of the field.
That was a healthy thump from Tennis de Beer, the former SA Schools and SA Under-20 floor half. He's had a good game this evening.
He's had an exceptional game, I think, you know. Bearing in mind, of course, Eddie Fischer had this position at fly half, and Eddie Fischer's been moved to the centre berth.
And the importance of that try that he scored over the top of the line out, picked up the scraps. Great running.
That line out a little bit messy, but the Cheetahs have secured possession. Not the best of balls on offer on that occasion. So Oki Barnard's done well. He's held on to it. Now Pinar.
Very high, very high.
Williams up for it. Able to take it. Was a knock on there from the Cheetahs, so the Pumas will be playing
Good
advantage.
contest. Knock on.
Oh, there's snow on the Drakensberg at the moment, I tell you.
Leave him. Get away.
And Daniel Martins, he's also had a good game. But that ball was up there in the heavens, kissing the heavens from Rohan Pienaar. The pressure comes from Blommetjies, slight knock on from the Cheetahs. Advantage to the Pumas.
Let's go. Let's play.
Let's get a big fire. Let's get a big fire.
10 minutes to go in this game, Gavin.
Well, you know, if you have a look at that, there's a BP next to the Pumas, which means they've scored 4 tries to get the bonus point, so that they've got already. If they win this game, it's another 4 points. You saw the log that you were going through just now. There's so much to play for.
They came so close last week against the Vodacom Bulls. Lost that game in the second half. Again, they play away from home. Can they pick up a victory on the road against this Cheetahs team?
You can't speak when I need to say set because they're not going to hear me. Sorry.
There's been a lot of chitter-chat and all sorts of things in this game, but you know,
that's
it would
on
be
me. You couldn't
expected.
hear set because Nine is talking.
There's
can't hear the set because Nine is talking. Yes.
Head in. Billy, head in.
What we do know about the Te Cheetahs, they are normally good in those last 10 minutes of any game. They can pick up the tempo.
Crouch. Sit.
Well, that's going to be needed. Just over 8 minutes left then of this game.
Sit.
If you have a look at the second half, it's been pretty even with both sides scoring 2 tries.
Ball out.
And that ball wheeled, rather that scrum wheeled. The Pumas were under a lot of pressure, but it looks like they've regrouped pretty well. For retaking them a little bit early to start winding down the clock, but that's not their intention. They need to play their rugby, get out of their half of the field.
Deep pass, taken back. Stay, all of you.
Seems to go straight down the middle of the park. Yes, Blommetjies, well read by the fullback. Oh, that's an excellent kick.
That's what Clayton Blommetjies bring you, but that's the whole, the team.
Sub. So, time off.
Time off from the ref.
Say again, Quentin.
50-22.
50-22.
What was it?
From Clayton Blommetjies. Here is absolutely superb.
Martin.
And of course, with that line out of theirs that's worked so well, it's exactly what they need.
And that came from the pressure from the pack, the pressure from the scrummy, the fly half. The Pumas are unable to exit the position. Superb kick, Blommetjies.
Sekeketa once again in the line out. Now Rudolph. Clear. Davis. Like a runaway train, Aiden Davis. Still they come, the long pass. Here's a chance for them, surely. And there it is. A try to Daniel Kasende.
The first of the tries that has been spread out wide by this Cheetahs team. Kasende, Daniel Kasende. The crowd love it. Peel around from the back of the line out. They suck in the defence all comes in like a runaway train. Aiden Davis takes it 2-3 meters. Then there's a long pass from Rohan Pienaar, probably 30-meter pass. The accuracy of that pass from Pienaar, incredible. The finish from Kasende, superb.
Yeah.
That's where you see the benefit of a scrum half playing in the fly half position. The accuracy of the pass too, brilliant from Rohan Pienaar.
Yeah, sorry.
And now an important conversion for him too, because if he doesn't get it over and they're faced with kicking a goal for a penalty, we could end up with a 29-all game. But they have to pursue the victory, do the Cheetahs, of course. From the touchline, Ruan Pienaar, dead-eye deck.
Ice in the veins of Ruan Pienaar. This is composed, it's accurate, it's magnificent.
And number 15.
1 point in this game.
Number 1. One Pumas giving some.
As well, really, the benches have been virtually all brought on. All the individuals are on.
Yeah, Devot Maritz is on. Diego Apollos is on for the Pumas.
Simon Raw out there too. So all these changes being made here. Just a couple of minutes left.
All subs made. Time back
and
on.
I guess what's going through both teams' minds is that the next team that scores will be the winner. Well, everybody was in front of the kicker there. That's inexcusable from the Pumas.
Front of the kicker.
Oh, the script. You've seen the script before. We've seen it the last 2 weeks.
Number 14.
Can the Pumas hold out? Can they take this victory? Or will they succumb to this Tiara Cheetahs side? We have seen them come so close in the last 2 weeks. Are we seeing history repeat itself? That man needs to talk. Lead.
That's you. That's you.
I think that's been one of the brilliant things too this season, Warren, as you see all the players in front of the kicker there. I mean, they're miles ahead of them.
And the problem was it wasn't just one player, it was literally all of them.
What we have seen are so many tight matches during the course of the season. Such competitiveness from the less fashionable provinces like the Pumas and Brickworth, for example. Brilliant to see. It's a good strong scrum this from the Cheetahs. They're searching for a penalty, but they won't get one. There'll be a reset of the scrum.
You can't go up and move forward. Reset, straight up. White ball.
Who holds the key? Who holds the key?
The coaching staff.
Work a little bit better on your binding. That's the info I'm getting that side.
With bated breath. The Pumas want to attack the scrum of the Cheetahs, but they don't want to concede penalty. Got to be accurate with what you do.
Well, they can't afford to do that. I think Ruan Pienaar can certainly kick it over from the halfway line.
He hasn't missed a kick all night, Ruan Pienaar.
Coach!
Less than 3 minutes left. The locals are cheering. There's an expectation in the crowd.
Oh, the crowd are in this game. Very, very vocal here. Harvey's Currie.
Just get the gap in better.
The Tiara Cheetahs coach. Spectators absolutely loving the atmosphere.
One way of warding off the cold too, isn't it?
Keep your own weight.
A bit chilly out there. But the locals, there's a level of expectation here. Is there going to be a grandstand finish here for the local team? From the men from Nelspruit hold on to that solitary 1 point lead. In by Currie. Zebicki standing, waiting for it, wanting to go at full tilt, but they've gone the other way. Now Smith.
Advantage for a high tackle.
Well, there's a penalty advantage for a high tackle. We just heard from the referee. Now, unless they score here, the Cheetahs have an opportunity potentially of a kick at goal if that's what they choose to do. Bear in mind, they've scored 4 tries. They've got a bonus point for that. Back they come. You said he hasn't missed a kick all night. Will he attempt one from this considerable distance? Ruan Pienaar.
So much experience well over 300 first-class games. Gee, I think Clayton Blomekes was going to kick that ball.
He definitely was. And he would have backed himself on the basis that their line-out's been good, that they could score from that. But have a look at the time. Really, there's nothing left. This is really going to be the last effort, one would think, of this match.
They've got the bonus point to the Cheetahs. They've got the 4 tries. They need the win. They want the win to compete with the Vodacom balls. There's the high tackle. It's only just above the line of the shoulder, but it's a high tackle. To compete with the Vodacom balls, to go for that number 1 position on this year's Carling Currie Cup.
I love the way Ruan Pienaar walked up and said, we're kicking it goal. There was no debate around it. He's taken it. He knows it's on his shoulders.
He's taken the responsibility.
He's had a great night with a boot. Can he make it a brilliant night with a boot?
And break the hearts of all in Mbombela.
Just the 3 steps up, but I don't think he's got it. No, he hasn't. He'll be disappointed with that, and it really just, when he struck it, I got the feeling too that it was not going to be straight enough to start with. Just chipped it a little bit.
I just stabbed at it, did Ruan Pienaar.
And of course the kick out from Devin Williams.
It's the last line out of the game.
Yeah, you'll hear the hooter quite soon. They've got Sekekete once again with a good catch on the line out. Now can they drive it upfield? Well, they've fractured the effort on the maul there, and it's the Pumas who benefit from the referee's whistle. End of the game, 1 point in it. What a game, Bros.
What a game of rugby. Jimmy Steinhaus is in tears. MJ Mintz, the coaching staff. This is a famous victory for the Airling Pumas. They've come so close. They've been denied, but they showed incredible heart, perseverance, and accuracy, and some fantastic tries that they've scored here to beat the Cheetahs and advance up that log. He's going to be disappointed, is Ruan Pienaar.
Yeah, he will be, and sadly in his 50th match for the Cheetahs. And, you know, that's the way rugby goes, you know. He mustn't be blaming himself for not having won the game. He missed the kick. It was one of those things. But as you said, Warren, I think they're in picture there. Billy Engelbrecht and his Chargers just did such a good job. They made sure that they got the points when they needed them. Even although some of them were against the run of play, it didn't matter. They never gave up. Their lineouts were poor during the course of the night. Their scrums were better. Rugby is often a game of opportunity, one's got to say. And Harvey's Ferry there in picture will be disappointed. It's the 2nd week in a row that they've lost a match. They hadn't lost one up till last week. Now they've lost 2 in a row, and this one, well, was only by 1 point, one of those things. So let's just have a look at that log there, Warren. Very interesting.
Oh, very interesting for the Pumas. Makes